Good morning, everybody. Today I am in the TYR Valkyrie Speedworks. It is Sunday. I have a few things to say about my current condition. My tibialis anterior tendon is inflamed to the max. I think that came from my 400 repeat or interval workout earlier this week. It's been pretty bad. But this morning, it's the worst that it's been. I was icing it last night, and that's where your foot meets your shin bone. It's the tendon that runs like this up your shin bone and all the way through your big toe. And yeah, just where it is around the ankle, like, divot, that it hurts the most right now, or really that's the only place that it hurts. But any shoe, even socks, are causing pain on it. So I'm going to go to the track where I will be running basically until I feel like the pain is intolerable, and then I'll be able to take off my shoes and get a couple barefoot laps on the turf, because the turf is really soft and gentle under my feet. And it still hurts when I'm walking around in socks, but it's not like I have a tongue rubbing up against it, causing further irritation. And so I'm just going to try to get as many miles as I can. It's a real big bummer on a Sunday when I don't have the mental strength going into it, or I have an uncertainty going into it surrounding whether or not I'm going to get the mileage that I have prescribed for myself for the week. So this could be a major down week, and this close to my race, I'm not really thrilled about that, but at the same time, I have to take care of myself and make sure that I arrive at the start line healthy and not with a completely blown out tendon, because you can't break those. It would be really bad for me if I broke a tendon. So I'm going to get started, get as many miles as I can. The TYR Valkyrie Speedworks is a speed training shoe with a beaded PIBA from the company called TYR, which they do like swimming and triathlon stuff. I'm not too familiar with them as a brand, but they had this shoe on sale almost a year ago, maybe even longer than that, and I got it, and I've really enjoyed running in it. I don't actually have a ton of miles on it, and it's always been really nice and stable underfoot. And so today I actually just tried on a few different shoes to see which one was irritating the tendon the least, and I got sick of trying on shoes, and this is the one. I think after 3 shoes I was like, okay, this shoe's already on my foot, so I'm gonna wear it. Also, I've been meaning to revisit this a little bit because the TYR just put out the Maverick, which I don't think I'm gonna test, but it's good to see that they're continuing to make running shoes. So maybe if they update the Speedworks, or even update their carbon counterpart to this, then I might try that as a shoe and review it for you all. But yeah, I really like the shoe. It's very direct, it's very firm, and it's also very bouncy. So I'm looking forward to this run. Hopefully I'm not in too much pain. I also don't have any gels, so even if I were going for 20 today, it would be a pretty rough one. So either way, let's go. It definitely hurts quite a lot already, and I am not even half a mile in. I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be a pretty short day, unless the barefoot miles go really well. And for anybody that's new on the channel, I have a background in minimalist footwear and running, so throwing in barefoot miles is much more likely in this situation to be a solve than to be a further aggravator of the situation, just due to my predisposition towards a calf dominant running strategy. So that's why I'm going to the track in the first place, is I want to get at least a few miles in, and if I don't have a shoe rubbing up against my foot, I think that the tendon will be a little less irritated overall. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I start running barefoot and it's the same exact sensation. That would be a disappointment, but it's a calculated risk. Yeah, I really don't like the idea of dipping below a 90-mile week. I haven't been below a 90-mile week in God, it's almost potentially 3 months. I'll have to check my Garmin history here, but I've been doing this 90 to 100 mile week thing for quite some time now, and it's becoming gradually second nature. I mean, it's still hard, don't get me wrong, especially psychologically, and in the sense of how much time you have to dedicate of your life to do something like this. But on my body in every other way, I feel really good physically right now. Even all of the issues that I've been having any other part of my body. So I'll explain. I had some pain in my left post tib, and outside of the ankle and calf muscle that on the left side of my body raised up to my behind the knee, and then it became mainly a hip and lower back issue, and that persisted for a while. Then it migrated to my right knee, and then that's gone, right? That's what I was complaining about last week, and all I'm left with is this. It feels like a bruise on the top of my foot and ankle, and it's it feels like it's the least stride affecting type of injury out of all of the ones that I previously mentioned. I was much more concerned about all the other ones, but this feels like somebody just has been whacking my tendon with a baseball bat. And yeah, it's I know that if I aggravate it further, it's only going to get worse. This is one that I have a feeling I just need to cut back on mileage for, but it's so frustrating. So I'm going to do my best to get just as many miles as I can this week, but if I end up under 90, I'm trusting myself to make a decision right now throughout this run, right? It doesn't have to be an immediate decision, but throughout this run, if it gets to a point where I think it is dangerous or self-defeating to continue running, I will call it and I will stop running. And these are the decisions that you all have to make for yourselves as well. And it's about having that body intuition that will keep you more injury free. Right? Nobody's ever going to go throughout their running career without picking up injuries, but it's because of how responsive and how calculated I've been on all my previous injuries, erring on the side of pushing harder, right? I haven't really let up on the gas, but I have taken down weeks. I think it was 2 weeks. Last week was a down week, technically speaking, even though it still ended up being 96 miles. And the reason I took that, quote, down week wasn't actually anything. It was that I anticipated that my body might have a delayed reaction to all of the mileage I put in the week before. Part of me is wondering if this tendon expressing its dissatisfaction with me right now has anything to do with the form issues that I've been having, where it feels like shoes on my right foot often fit wrong no matter what. And some shoes are certainly worse than other shoes for that issue. But I wonder if, like, so the tibialis anterior, I was reading, right, I'm not a physio or anything, is responsible for lifting off the foot or lifting up the foot, and if I'm landing more flat-footed and this is collapsing and having a harder time lifting, it would have a higher ground contact time, which would open me up to any number of additional, like, form concerns. And I could see that being the cause of some fit issues long term in shoes. So maybe when I'm at the physio on Wednesday, I'll get some, like, good combinatory news where you just do this one exercise and all your problems will be solved. Not that it's that easy, of course. I would have to still do the exercise, but maybe when I get back today, I'll start looking at the exercises that would be beneficial for issues of this nature. This is the important work that people don't realize runners have to do. I mean, in anyone that's chasing a performance goal in a sport has to do this type of work. And yeah, just be in tune with your bodies. Being in tune with your bodies often leads to being more in tune with your mind, which is what ought to bring happiness and joy to everybody in this human experience. The shoe pick is working out really well. These are so nice, like, so firm, and feel higher stacked than they actually are. They're pretty much a full stack, I believe, but because of how dense the BDP is, wow, I feel like I just snapped the bridge. I don't know if you heard that, but that was scary. Yeah, plus the plastic plate. It's a very rigid shoe. This might as well be carbon plated. And the tongue isn't being super abrasive so far against the top of my foot, but I'm also going a bit slower. Yesterday, instead of run club, because I only got 3 hours of sleep, because I was out at a poker game, at run club, or not at run club, instead of run club, I went to the treadmill at the gym, and there I wore the New Balance Pulse, and it started out good, but eventually the pain in my tendon crept back in. So hopefully today stays good for longer than that, because I only got like 10 miles in on the treadmill. I was completely drenched afterwards, because now I'm used to this really crisp fall weather, and it was like indoor temperatures at the gym. But yeah, I feel okay right now. Just gonna take it nice and easy. Throughout this block, I for sure had my ups and downs with mental health, with performance, with all of the holistic components and totality of the training block itself. It's been hard and it's been easy. It's been joyous. It's been sorrowful. One thing I'm grateful for is that throughout I've maintained an attitude of I am going to PR at this race. It'd be almost impossible not to, as I saw last weekend from going out for like a weekend marathon just during the long run. Like, PR'd there without too much fuss, and I'm sure, given the conditions will be much better for the race, that I will PR there as well. But to not be concerned about it otherwise, with the time, with a, performance metric, any of them, I'm happy with any of them. And I do feel that is true to myself, and I'm not I'm not lying to myself when I say that. And it allows for days like today or weeks like this week where it's just like, seems like everything sort of fell apart in a way, and in a way that I can't control. I don't feel too bad about it because I can't control this, and it's not like it fell apart psychologically for me. I didn't like quit or anything. It's just that when you feel pain, you need to respond to pain in the way that is most likely to resolve the issue. And so taking this long-term horizon view of where I want to be in the marathon and treating this training block not so much like a block, but an extremely extended growth period, like a mileage building period more than anything else, has been really helpful for me. Where since April, since my last marathon race, I've just been increasing the mileage up until 100 and then trying to hang on to 100 and failing at that goal here and there, but long term it's going to be a success, and I can tell that that is the case. You puppies. It's falling in love with the process and having process-oriented goals that keeps me from ever getting too attached to one specific time or disappointed when I fail in any measurable way. The only thing in a process-oriented goal that you would fail at is if you don't participate in the process. So as long as I'm participating in this process and giving it my best effort to get better each time I participate, then I'm doing what I can to be the best runner I can. Of course I would like a nice time at this race. I'd be stoked with anything sub 3. I would like to beat my friends at Run Club, which I think I could probably take one of them, but the other hit a 3:17 at Line Glass, so maybe that would be sort of a dream come true, and also just like friendly competition is always fun. But those are all like nice to haves. I think that my real goal at my race is to run with strength the entire time. Now, of course, I would, stop at aid stations or at least walk through them to get water. I'm really looking forward to a good weather race because the amount I sweat and therefore the amount of salt that I lose and therefore the likelihood that I cramp is so greatly reduced in the cold weather. And for me, who I sweat a lot, like yesterday on the treadmill at the gym, my everything was completely soaked, like as if I had been in a rainstorm. So I know that I'm predisposed towards losing a lot of water, losing a lot of my salt, and therefore I need to replenish it more. I'm really likely to cramp. I've cramped every single full distance marathon that I've run. Even last Sunday, although that was the least I've cramped, I still cramped. But the common thread there for all 3 races, it was hot. It was very hot. The Colfax Marathon in Denver, Colorado was 70 or like 74 maybe at the end of the race. It started out relatively cool because it's a high desert type of climate, but by the end, it was pretty brutal. I was running directly into the sun. And in Ibiza, that was even hotter. I mean, it was 70, but it was also humid, and it had rained for days before, and so all of the humidity was still lingering in the air. It was 3 p.m, which was weird. Last weekend, it got up to 80 by the end, and I guess the point is I fell apart in all of those races and runs. And I've had other like 20-mile runs a while ago because I've gotten a lot better at them, but I've had a lot of 20 and even 18-mile runs that ended in a similar cramping situation. And so my real process goal for this upcoming race is just to not cramp and to not bonk in any way that affects my time or affects my mental state. Just running with strength. Sometimes I get the scary feeling of being trapped by my own goals, where I've set a goal for myself to run sub 3 in the marathon. That goal really is more qualify for Boston. They're similar. Boston's this nebulous goober that you need whatever time you actually end up needing. Whatever, same goal. In order to do that, I have to dedicate time, energy, pain, and I have to sacrifice social life, potential, dating prospects, and time with my dogs, time with my friends. It's a balance, but it's also a box that I put myself into. And it's a scary feeling to feel trapped by the thing that you truly love. Really what it is I'm so intimate with running, but I have a fear of intimacy. And the things you identify with end up intimately connected to your identity. And I've never been tied to a strong sense of identity. And so having one component, one facet of my life implying or being the implication of such a huge piece of the pie chart of my identity feels like too much intimacy with the prospect of running, and you become, right, the thing that you're known by your community for. You see this all the time in media, social media, podcasts, like people who do a thing and talk about the thing sort of become known for the thing, and that's who they are, very tied to their identity, but they're not, that's not who they are as a person. They have so much more to themselves as a person, and so much more that they want out of life as a person. And so, in my life, historically, I've tried to avoid becoming too overly identified or overly intimate with one thing or with one person. But that pushes people away, and it could, in this situation, if I wasn't observing this and talking through it with you right now, that could push me away from running, which it's not doing, which I feel like is something of a growth arc for me. But it doesn't mean it's easy, and it doesn't mean I don't have these thoughts throughout, where would I love to just give up sometimes? I actually don't know. I don't think so. But sometimes it feels like I would like to give up and just stop chasing this goal, because it is hard. And maybe for other people, like people that were more athletic in their youth, or people that didn't have years and years away from running or any cardiovascular activity, then this goal might be a little easier for them to achieve, but they would be facing, more challenging goals. Like, think of Olympic athletes. Like, it's hard for them. It's just as hard for them as it is for me. And maybe they have something wired different in their brain where maybe they don't have these thoughts, or like maybe they do, but they're more comfortable with the idea of being intimate with their interests and having a more myopic or like one note or singular point of identity and identification. I don't actually know, I'm sure Usain Bolt wants to be seen for the person who he is, not for the sprinter. But to some degree, if you're chasing greatness, you become the thing that you're chasing. And that's never sat right with me, which is why that's not what I'm chasing. I'm chasing a bit more balance in my life. And the way to do that is not running 100-mile weeks, I'll tell you that much. But in order to maybe set something of a timeline for myself, maybe I would like to qualify for Boston before I turn 35. I think that's a reasonable goal, because then I'd be qualifying in the under 35 bracket. I don't know, maybe it's the under 34 bracket, whatever it is. I'll look that up when I get back. Setting specific goals helps a lot too. Like, put a timeline on it. Then if you fail in that period of time, you have a built-in mechanism to reassess what your goal was in the first place, and maybe keep shooting for the same time goal and just add an additional time horizon, or maybe stop pursuing that goal if you haven't hit it in that time frame. I mean, in 35, that'd be realistic for me to hit this goal by. I think the real goal is around 250 in the marathon. If I'm being really honest with myself, I just want something that I know undeniably would qualify me for Boston. And it's weird, it's not so much, I don't really care about running Boston. Like, I don't care about the course, it's just straight with one turn or two turns, a jig jog. I don't know, that's not that interesting to me, but it's the lore surrounding it, it's the history, it's the you'd be part of a thing, like part of something larger than yourself. And I'm already part of something larger than myself. Like, running is vast, it's historical to the human condition, it's a beautiful thing, and it's much, much larger than myself and then anybody that's alive today, or all of the people alive today, because it goes back thousands of years. We grew as a species as persistence hunters. We hunted animals by running them to death. If that's not some of the most primal, instinctual, call of the wild type of behavior, then I really don't know what is. That's the allure of running to me. And why would I want to chase some obscure distances, obscure time goal to get into some race somewhere? Like, it's a celebration of that. It's a celebration of humanity. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but my body just seems to be keeping me going today. I think I made a really nice shoe choice. The way the tongue is positioned on the TYR Valkyrie Speedwork is unintrusive to my most present issue. I've been going very slow, like just under 10-minute pace, probably averaging around 9:45. One issue crept up a while ago is my left calf, the opposite side of where the tendon issues are. Like, I don't know, like, tore. It feels like it's suddenly really sore and really, like, hurting. And it was very sudden pretty early into the run, but it's been gradually, like, loosening up. And maybe I just need to reincorporate post-run stretching. I haven't really tried that because I've long been I don't know, not a detractor from stretching, but I've never seen the point in it. It's not done much to help me. Whenever I am stretching, like, I've gone through periods of being a stretcher, and it has had quite literally no impact on my proclivity to get injured. I remember when I was stretching the most, I was having the most hip issues and hamstring issues even. And for the last year almost, I've given it up as a practice, but maybe I could reincorporate it, especially today. After this run, I'll try to debrief with a nice little yogic stretching session. Who knows how far I'll end up going today. If I just keep going like this, plodding along, the risk to aggravating anything in my body is pretty low, I think. And I'm on a flat surface now, which is helpful. And yeah, I see no reason not to just keep going until I really can't. I'm only a mile away from home, so I could always get back to my house relatively quickly if needed. I could even walk if something blows up. And yeah, just keep on trucking, you know. One of the big things that I miss about lifting and about regularly being at the gym is the confidence that it builds. Running is not a high testosterone activity. Lifting is a very high testosterone activity. Now, I don't know about hormones really all that much, and that's all just bro science, what I just said, but it's how I feel when I leave the gym, is I feel jacked. How I feel when I finish a run is I feel high. Two very different mind states. In the gym also affords you a bit more of the opportunity to connect with people and socialize and like just be out in society a bit more. Running feels very much like a fringe activity. It's really only the psychos of the world that are running in the same way that I'm running and that people like me are running. This high mileage training is not normal. I mean, there are people that go to the gym and do the equivalent of that in the gym. The operative difference there is that they are regularly interacting with other human beings and they're not quite literally separating themselves from society. But the thing about the gym too is it can feel very isolating because you're all, you know, wearing your headphones, you're on your phones, you're doing your sets, then you're sitting up on a bench and scrolling, then you're doing your sets and whatever. So the gym isn't always great if you don't have a friend to go with. It does make you feel strong though. So I think I'll probably go to the gym later today. It's something that ever since I started this high mileage training, it has fallen way off my priority list. And that's not always a good thing. And in this case, I mean, it's a necessary trade-off. And it affords me the opportunity to run more. But I do miss the gym. It's really good for you to lift. All of you should be lifting out there. Do some squats. So at these much slower paces, I feel like I've definitely adapted my stride in a certain way, and I can't tell what I'm doing. So what I just did was I filmed a couple of back and forth on the straightaway, and you'll probably be watching it now just to see what I'm doing differently at this pace and how I'm hitting the ground. It feels different. It doesn't feel wrong, but I've been managing to broadly avoid the tendon bruising sensation, and I want to know what specifically I'm doing in my stride to avoid that pain. So hopefully whatever I have recorded is helpful to me, and maybe to you all as well. The thing about recording things like that is you're thinking about your stride while you're running, and I was trying to run as naturally and as like similarly to what I've been running as possible, but you never know. It's like the quantum mechanics of observable versus unobservable behaviors and motion and whatever. I don't understand math. A few weeks ago, there were these massive clusters of mosquitoes everywhere, and I was just thinking to myself that they're gone, and I can't believe that even existed for that short period of time. It's like a fever dream. It's almost like somebody just got all of the mosquitoes from all over the world, put them in a big net, and helicopter dropped them on Rochester a few weeks ago. And now they're all gone. It's probably because they all got stuck to my skin and died. I just invented a new track and field format. You're gonna love it. So we have all these lanes, right? And everybody always goes counterclockwise around the track. What if staggering the lanes for up to 800 meters, everybody had to each lane go the opposite direction? You would never know who's in the lead. It would just be about when they complete the distance that they are measured to have to complete. It would add a whole new element to the race, because it would force them, the athletes, to simply run as fast as they can. Not as a race, just like sheer running. Maybe they've done that. I can't imagine I'm the first person to have this idea. If anybody wants to try that with me, come to the U of R track. We'll get it done. Let's do a quick recap. That went head and shoulders above what I thought it was going to. Bad sentence. Good run. Me run guy. I go far. No, I didn't go very far. I went 16 miles at a really slow pace. I was out there for 2 hours and 32 minutes, which is going to tell me momentarily 9:31 pace. That's better than I thought it was, honestly. But yeah, I was like bopping along, and I was running in a manner that didn't trigger this tendon to flare up super hard. I definitely had some like left calf problems, but I think that's just from my body compensating and redistributing the load, which is, it's a testament to the human body that we're able to shift the pressure points, the load of the run so adaptively and still be able to run 16 miles today when I was afraid that I was going to have to bail out at 5, just based on how I felt in the morning. I didn't expect to be able to run, really. And I think part of it was I wore the right shoes. TYR Valkyrie Speedworks has been a very reliable, really nice, firm, plastic plated trainer for me. It goes faster than I took it today, but whatever it was about the tongue placement in this today, maybe also how I tied it, how I was running, it all combined to just simply work. And yeah, I'm grateful for it. I could have kept going, but I haven't had any nutrition the entire run, no water the entire run, and I probably had another couple of miles in me before I would have really started to feel the fatigue, but I would prefer to finish out a run feeling strong versus feeling like I beat myself up, especially when my body's already beaten up. So I think that should be around 90 miles on the week. It's probably the lowest mileage week that I've run in 2 to 3 months. But when your body tells you to do that, you do that. Like you have to listen to yourself, or else you're going to end up in a much worse situation than I've already found myself in. Right? I'm not proclaiming to be an expert at listening to myself. I'm for sure worse than some, for sure better than others. But if you listen to yourself, you will stand a much greater chance of staying healthy, not getting injured, and running at your best. So that's been Sunday, and I appreciate all of your attention. Stay in motion.